I would like to tell you a story where this journey began in 1991 with my wife, myself, my mother, and my dad traveling from Cape Town down to a little place called Gansbaai. And I don't know what it's like here in Australia, but in South Africa, everyone wants to own a farm. And we drove past here, and there was a sign, farm for sale. And we went up there the next day. There were no cell phones at that day. We used the public phone. We had the agent there. And that is what we bought. This little farm with the most incredible view over Walker Bay. And it changed our lives. Every weekend, we went to this farm. Took the kids there, our friends came, finished work early. And I think in the third year, I had the idea, maybe we should leave the city and we could build something there. And the decision was to build a self-catering lodge. It was my dream to say, wasn't going to be in the rat race anymore, and we'd see people that would come to us and enjoy it. It took 2 years to persuade my wife that this might be a good idea. We had to take the kids out of school. But anyway, she succumbed to it, and we did it. And we built this little self-catering unit, and when we'd finished, I'd forgot the marketing, and no one came. And we were in South Africa, where everyone had beaches. They had famous, we didn't have any animals. And slowly our money disappeared, and we were on the verge of bankruptcy. When an English tour operator came past and said, you know what, I could sell this. If it wasn't self-catering, I said, well, that's easy. My wife will do the cooking, I'll do the guiding, and let's start. And that is how Grootbos was born. And over time, we had more and more people, and my wife eventually said to me, if you hire out our private bedroom, that's the end of it. So I had to find my brother, who was overseas, and he wanted to come back to South Africa, and I said, we've got to build a lodge. We've got the rooms, but we've got to build a lodge. And so we started in front of the house to build the lodge, and we opened it in 1996. And that is what you see today. We decided only to do suites and no rooms, lots of air, to appreciate the nature. And in 1997, we hired a person that would have changed my life. It was a botanist. Because we are in the richest floral kingdom in the world. As you can see, number 4 is Australasia as part of it, but the smallest kingdom in the world is the Cape Floral Kingdom. And I got hold of this botanist, and the botanist said to me, Michael, if we want to get anywhere, you have to know what we're doing. We have to know which plant species we have. So he divided our farm that we had into 49 little spots, 5 by 10 square meters, got down on his hands and knees with another botanist, and collected every single plant in these little blocks. And he came up with the top left one, sent it to the botanists, and it was a new species for science. And they named it Erica magnisilva, after Grootbos, the big forest. And slowly we developed into a flower reserve, and we started doing flower safaris. And the botanist said to us, you know what, you're not in such a great area. You'll probably find around 500 species. That is max that it can give on your property. Well, I remember when we found 500 species, we celebrated with a cake with 500 candles on it. The whole team all together. And that is what Grootbos looks like. It's covered in flowers. Today we have 783 species, 6 new species for science, and 120 red data species. We have a herbarium, and we follow the plants wherever we can. So as I said, we did flower safaris. And then this botanist said to me in the year 2000, he said, Michael, our little farm cannot exist in eternity on its own. We have to form a conservancy. We have to get like-minded people around us. We have to build a nucleus that will live much longer than what you or I will ever live. And so started the Walker Bay Conservancy. The great one is if you look at number 1, That was Cape Nature. We were talking about it yesterday. I think it was Bruce that said that Cape Nature has just joined here, the ecosystem. And they, as a government organization, joined this. And today we are 15,000 hectares, all thinking the same, doing the same, clearing of alien species. And that happened in 2000. In 2003, we realized we had to start a foundation. People were giving us money. We didn't know where to put the money. So we started the Grootbos Foundation because we started a school. We realized that in our community in South Africa, we didn't have gardeners. We had someone knocking on your door and saying, "Can I be your gardener?" What he actually meant is, "Can I clean your pool? Can I cut your lawn? Can I take out your weeds?" So we embarked on a private partnership with the German government and started a school. And the criteria was, you had to be above the age of 18, not older than 35. You had to be unemployed, and you had to have 8 years of schooling. And we employed 2 teachers, a life skills teacher, which was the one on the right, Susan, and Charlene, who was the horticultural teacher. We got the school accredited by government, and we started teaching gardening and life skills. You are all aware of life skills, but the people we brought in, and I think Bruce mentioned it yesterday, no computer skills, no driving, no literate skills, and those are the life skills. So we do driver's lessons, we do computer lessons, and after 1 year, our scholars graduate. We've up to now graduated 120 scholars, of which 103 that we now have found work. But the amazing thing is, not only in horticulture, but also in other industries. And to sustain the industry, as we heard from Soneba earlier, we started a horticultural school and gardening, and we grew trees because we took pictures of the area of 1948 and realized how many trees had been chopped down. And we grow trees that our guests plant at $35 a tree, but they name their tree after one of their beloved ones. We give them the Google coordinates, and we give them a certificate, so that in 10 or 15 years they'll be able to Google their tree on Google Earth. And we've planted up to now 3,800 trees. We were so excited, and the lodge was doing well, that in 2004, we embarked on building a second lodge. Proud, and we did it. And then came the fire, something you were talking about. This massive bushfire. And that was what was left after the lodge. It had burned down to the ground. We had just been open 1 year. It was devastating. But something else triggered something amazing. This is what the landscape looked like. And this is what happened 3 days later. We had new plants coming up. And we used that opportunity to take the burnt flowers, took our foundation, employed the ladies that had lost their jobs, and started to send these flowers out as bouquets into the world, to tell people, we are still there, we are still alive. And these flowers sold everywhere. It was called the burnt flowers of Grootbos. But the other thing that happened was, the flowers just came up that we'd never seen. We had 83 new species for Grootbos after this fire that we didn't know. This is the Overbergensis, a gladiolus. And all of a sudden the farm was full of it. Thousands and thousands of them flowering. And I was convinced that the next year I would see one. Never seen it again. That is a nice little story, actually. My father, who passed away, who was very into botany, he discovered this little one. It was named after him. And before he passed away, together with Sean Privet, they wrote a book. It's the 17 years of work on Grootbos, and it is the flowers of Grootbos. It is our little guide that we use with the guests together, and the guests that come to us, they receive this into their hands, and they can identify the flowers and the plants. This is the lodge that you see tonight, the one that burned down. So we reopened that in the end of 2006 with this view over Walker Bay. And I think it was Pat that said that yesterday in the Soneba hotels. We believe in one thing. We believe in accommodation, the best, and food. And everything else will follow. And so we are basing something on the 4 C's. It's called commerce, culture, community, and conservation. And these are our suites that we have, our bathrooms overlooking the ocean, as we said, a lot of air, great balconies. And in 2006, we were awarded the World Cup. We thought, wow, this is a good idea. And me being soccer fanatic and sports fanatic, thought, what could we do? And this is how our kids in the community was playing. They didn't even have a soccer field. These were their changing rooms. It was terrible. And so we put something together, which was going to be called the sports facility. And it took us 2.5 years. We got Barclays Bank involved, we got the City of Cape Town involved, our council involved, the English Premiership involved. And we decided we'd take an area of 20 hectares and we would build sports fields and the school would follow. And that was the blueprint we were going to do. 2009, we opened. We got a G3 sports field, the first artificial, most modern sports field, donated from the English Premiership League. And I must commend them still today. They give us £50,000 a year for this little sports project that we have here. And the amazing thing, it didn't only do sporting, it didn't only do soccer. We started doing netball. We started doing athletics. We started doing hockey. So we worked with the city of Hamburg together, doing hockey. We built a clubhouse. For the first time there was a clubhouse. And people said to us, this thing isn't going to work. The community is going to cut up the carpet, the artificial turf, and it's going to use it as carpets. We built a walkway from the colored community to the white community. And this isn't gated, it isn't locked, and they said they're going to destroy it. Not one window has been broken. People use it as on a daily basis. And guess where we take your children that come to visit South Africa, they travel through South Africa and actually never see children. When you go on a tour through South Africa, you want your children. Yet, your Australian kids come back and the other kids say, how are the kids in South Africa? And the answer was, I didn't see it. That can't be tourism, modern tourism we are talking about today. So your kids go down, and what do kids love doing? They love playing sport. And we take them down and we work together with this. I wanted to just give you a few facts. We work with 48 international volunteers a year. We have 403,000 contact hours. We touch 3,500 people. We train in sport. And that is all through our guests that are coming to us, that are enjoying it and taking part. In 2009, we've now been so successful with projects. This was going to be easy. We're going to start, we're going to start a women's project, and we're going to grow vegetables, and we're going to teach the ladies to take the vegetables into the township. 3 years later, we had to realize the project failed. It just didn't work. So we took that young lady in the middle on the right-hand side, and we gave her a job for 1 year, and she canvassed 550 households in the black community and 220 households in the white community. Why aren't we growing vegetables? And the result was flabbergasted. They had to pay for the water. We have sandy soils like here. You put a hose pipe on there for hours, and nothing is going to happen. And we realized we have to think completely different. And we're starting the project now in 2016. We've just raised funding of 1.5 million. And we're starting it, but on a different term. We'll have a teacher, and we'll have 30 volunteers, and we're going to build little vegetable gardens. We've spoken to the ministerium if we can put chickens in there as from proteins. But the amazing thing is we kept the garden. And the garden was under the foundation. And Grootbos has to buy everything that the foundation produces. Grootbos has to buy at a price that is the highest price they can purchase it on normally. So our guests can visit the Green Future School, can visit Growing the Futures, where we grow our own salads, our own herbs. We have 400 chickens, Where's Jeffries? Close. Look away. Look away. This plant has gone. And we started a new project. We took one of our community guys and said, you know what? The wastage. You can look after the pigs. We'll make a deal with you. On every litter, we get 2 pigs. And we produce a lot of scraps coming out of the kitchen. And so we have these amazing pigs, and this is what we sell for a lot of money. So we make our own little Parma ham as well. And this is what Green Futures produces, Growing the Futures, and this money all goes back into it. And you see this plant, the Erica regularis, is one of these rare plants. It only grows on Grootbos. Nowhere else in the world. It's between Stanford and Gans by 95%. So we empty the beehives in April, and we've got 120 beehives, and we place them there, and we do this kind of tourism. Bees are dying all over the world. People care about bees, so they're allowed to come to us. And they can experience the bees here in the bee suits. And we take out the honey, which is a special honey. We haven't reached the Manuka stage yet. Otherwise, we'd make a fortune. And we sell this honey, and guess where the proceeds go to? We aren't able to put the honey on the market. The guests purchase this honey. We cook with the honey. We have started this year making our own cosmetics. Was Pat saying that? No parabens, using the honey, linking up again with someone together. And all these projects benefit the community. We're teaching the community to be part of it. We employ people out of the community to do this. And the idea is to spin off the honey business, to spin off the cosmetic business, to make the people sustainable on their own once they understand the business. We come back West Bush with the bottled water. We did the same trick. People used to complain about having to pay for water. So we employ 2 people, we do our own water in the bottles, and we sell it for a high price, and it says great, the proceeds of this bottle go to the foundation. We've never had a complaint again. Do I have to guess? Honey ice cream, made out of our local honey. We continue this in the marine life. We are at the marine reserve as well, and everything you do at Grootbos is guided. So we employ 150 people for the operation, and we have 30 people working full-time in the foundation. And there's a company called Dyer Island Conservation Company, and coming back to the penguins that Peter was talking about earlier, same thing happened to us, guano gone and everything. So a guest can purchase a little penguin nest that goes onto it, that protects it from the gulls. And we've done over 6,000 of these, and for $500,000 we've just built a penguin or seabird rehabilitation center. And while I was here, I just got a little app. We've just taken 35 penguins off the island, little baby chicks. These are the seals, and this is a big worry for you in Australia. It's also a big worry for us in South Africa, is the great white. But the problem is we don't know about the great white. No one's seen it give birth. No one's seen the great white mate. So we are doing research on the great white. We're trying to find out more. Every single great white is documented. We're up to 950 great whites, realizing how they're traveling. We're putting in satellite monitors in them. We have marine biologists. And if you're starting to understand, this is what our guests experience. He experiences the foundation, he experiences the fantastic food, the guided tours. It becomes an experience. We do the beaches, where we take the local community, kids, it's called Devenisa, and we take little children for 8 weeks every Friday and teach them about the environment. These are short things just to mention what we were saying the other day, how awards really help. And in the conclusion, I'd like to tell you where I think things are going to. This is the noise we are all having. This is the noise that is outside. People worrying about things. And then comes the idea, I want to get out of it. I want to escape. I want to do a holiday. I just want to get away from everything. And we choose a place, and you'll see there's no conservation. There's no community work. There's no culture in here. It's just I want to get away and be pampered and spoiled. Yet, we are aware of these threats. The climate change, ozone layers, acid rain, genetic engineering, we know all about that. And I believe that the tourism of tomorrow, of today is, if we are offering equal product, exactly the same product, on the same basis that we have, the client will choose your product above the neighboring product because these are the worries that he has, and this is what we are giving them. We are giving them a sense of giving back. We are giving them a sense of teaching. We are giving them a sense of, do you know what? I'm glad I came here. I've learned a lot. It's been life-changing for me, and I'm giving a lot back. And this has been, for me, here amazing, listening to every one of us here. This is what we are all doing. I'd like to say thank you very much.